Hey, so we have just recorded episode 118 of the podcast. And if you have not listened to it yet, Gabe was a guest for the first time on the show. Thank you so much for joining, Gabe. It was really fun to have you on the show.
Hey, it's my pleasure. It's nice to shoot the breeze about this with someone who, one, knows the subject, and two, actually likes it. It's hard to find Japanese baseball fans in Toronto, Canada, I assure you.
Well, certainly, the English community is growing, but it still is fairly small. That is absolutely true. And also, Sanjay is back as co-host, and so I was glad to have him back and hearing his sweet voice in my ear.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Well, that wasn't even flattery though, bro. I really enjoy having you on the show. I enjoyed talking with you as I always do, and it's been great being friends with you. So we're just gonna talk a little bit, guys, about what's going on. And one of the big things going on that I didn't get to plug on the show was that this coming Friday in Japan, that is the 28th of August from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. I'm going to be giving a presentation for the Amagasaki International Association. And it is all about the Hanshin Tigers. It's in Japanese, so if you just want to hear my voice in Japanese, or if you're learning the language and you want to just listen in and try to pick up on some stuff, if you know the Tigers, then you'll understand at least a little bit of what I'm saying anyways. And there will be a PowerPoint or some sort of slideshow. So what the chairman has asked me to talk about is how are the Tigers going to do in 2020? And by the way, this was originally planned to be done before season start and it got canceled. But how they're going to do in 2020, talk about the new foreign players, talk about some of the other players that have joined the team, the analysis of team strength, and how the standings are going to end up. And then also he wants me to share some pictures and maybe talk about some of the foreign players that I have met in the past. So what do you guys think? I know, obviously, like I said, this was a topic that they set way back in like February or March. I forget when it was. But any thoughts on what I just shared as far as the topic? Anything that you think I should make sure that I tell them?
Well, yeah, you have all the personal stories, right? I don't know how much of that you can or want to share, but
Yeah.
people are always looking for sort of the inside scoop or things that you can't read about elsewhere. So your personal stories, all of them, I think, are awesome anyway. But I say bust all those out.
I think maybe making that the central theme of the talk might make it a little bit more interesting than actually analyzing the Tigers' strengths or how the Tigers are going to finish the season, because we'll be almost at the halfway point at that point, and you just can't predict baseball anyways, right? Everybody knows that.
You can't predict anything these days. Let's be real. I will say that I think that you as the gateway for foreign viewers into the Hanshin Tigers world, I think you have a unique perspective on what may help grow the profile of the team. Like I hinted at during the podcast, there's an untapped market there, I think, and I'm not sure why NPB as a whole and the Tigers, in addition to that, are neglecting to really develop it. I'm not sure if Jim Allen calls it the inferiority superiority complex of, our baseball is so pure and so fantastic, but nobody would want to watch it, so why even bother? Or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So maybe addressing that and reminding people that there is a market out there, because you see it firsthand. And, tie that in with the personal stories that, people have sought you out to go to baseball games with. Other foreigners, that's bringing money into Amagasaki, the Kansai region, Koshien in particular. How can they capitalize on that? I'm not sure if the audience is going to be primarily business people or individuals or politicians, but there's got to be that. So what's in it for me? Personal story. This is the Toastmaster talking, because I'm used to do that. Information is great. Personal stories are fantastic. But to really hook in the audience, there's got to be something in it for them.
Interesting. Well, so I did one presentation with them. It was the fall or late summer of 2018. And I didn't get to meet everybody there, but there were some politicians there. There were some business people there. And there were people there that probably belonged in the Oendan. I mean, I got jeered during my presentation. Just to share that story a little bit. That was the last year of Kanemoto's reign as manager of the Tigers. And I was growing tired of him. And I didn't want to say it, straight up in that talk, but I kind of hinted at it. And the Tigers were struggling already. The season had not ended yet, but I said, if this is the end of Kanemoto, the team really needs to bring in somebody from the outside because they keep hiring from within, and this inbreeding is just not healthy. I mean, that's true of regular genetics, and it's true of baseball as well, I think.
So, any organization, really,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's happening with Yakult, it's happening with Lotte, it's happening with Oryx. They just switched their manager, and they just continue to hire from within.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I had said was, I said at the very least, if they absolutely insist on hiring from within, they've got to go with Yano, because at least he's got his time with the Dragons, and he's got a different perspective, I think, than the born and bred Tigers guys. And of course, Kanemoto had his time with the Carp as well. But I also dropped a name of somebody else, and this is what I said. I said, I really respect Katsuya Nomura as a manager, and I know that his time in the Tigers was not particularly successful, but he's got such a great mind for the game, and anybody that was his disciple would be a wonderful manager. And I thought in particular of the catcher of the Yakult Swallows, Atsuya Furuta. And when I said that name, somebody yelled out from the crowd and said, "Zettai iranai." Like, we do not need that guy at all. Daikirai aitsu, right? He said, I absolutely hate that guy. And so, yeah, I got jeered at this presentation. This same guy came to me after the presentation, though. He's probably in his late 70s. And he apologized to me. He said, hey, I'm really sorry. I just really don't like Furuta. I know that he's a local guy. I think he's from Itami, which is in Hyogo Prefecture. But he's also been tainted by Yakult and his time in Tokyo, and he's two-faced, or I don't know. He said some stuff about Furuta, but then he also said, I've been a fan of this team since the days of Fumio Fujimura. And if you don't know who that is, he's the original Mr. Tigers who played with the team up until 1955. So I mean, we're talking about
one of
only
3 retired numbers, yeah.
Yeah. And he actually got to watch this guy play live. And so how can I not respect that guy's opinion? I mean, I almost felt suddenly like it was an honor to be jeered by somebody who's known the Tigers that long. Because at the time I'd been a fan of the team for 4 years. And actually the day before I did that presentation, I took the Hanshin Tigers proficiency test, the Hanshin Tigers Kente, level 1, and I passed it. I only found out later. But anyways, it was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And so I definitely want to talk about that. One of the themes I talked about last time as well was the Tigers need to figure out a way to beat the Giants and beat the Carp. And in 2018, both of those were true. In 2020, the former is still absolutely true. As we talked about on the show, and as everybody knows, we are 2-8 against the Giants this season. And like you said, Gabe, there's no special sauce or anything like that. I mean, there's no
cheat code.
No.
The answer's got to be in the room.
No, I mean, if it was as simple as up, up, down, down, left, right, ABA, BABA, start, Contra reference, life would be great, but that ain't the way it is. So yeah, like, I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Because that's something that probably will come up at some point during the presentation, and something that I like to think about as well. Like, what is it about this Tigers team that makes it so hard for us to play competitive ball against the Giants? I don't even think it's a matter of winning and losing. It's being competitive. It's being in the game, because it really looks like a top squad team playing against a farm team every time that we face them. Yeah, exactly. Silence. What is it? I don't know, man.
Well, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's not like they haven't been trying to beat the Giants forever. They've been trying. It's not been working.
Yeah.
There's obviously the payroll gap, right? Or I believe there's still a payroll gap, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure. Significant, yeah.
Yeah. So, you can't try to play the same game that they're playing and beat them at their game. We got to do something different, but I'm not really sure what that's going to be.
Well, see, I think one difference is that they've gone after some big name talent, and they haven't passed. They haven't it hasn't been a great signing every time they've done it. But they're chasing after a lot of free agent fielders, hitters, and we tend to chase a lot of free agent pitchers. There's nothing wrong with signing a Yuki Nishi. That's been a great signing for the Tigers.
Oh yeah.
Itoi, not such a great signing. It hasn't been awful. It hasn't really flopped. I mean, he's been okay, but he hasn't been a superstar. But I was just shaking my head a couple of off seasons ago when we didn't even look at Maru. We didn't even look at Asamura. We let them go to the Giants and Eagles, respectively. If you look at the Giants lineup, though, I mean, they do have a lot of guys that they have brought up in their system, right? They've got the Sakamoto, the Okamoto, the Oshiro, the Kobayashi.
Let's wait for Kikuta to make his way up.
Okay, so there's another name that we need to keep our eye on as well. But then they've also got guys, for better or worse, they've got Nakajima on their team, right, who hasn't been great, but they signed him as a free agent. They've got Daikon Yo, who they signed as a free agent. They've got Maru, who they signed as a free agent, and they traded for Zealous Wheeler. So, I mean, they're bringing in guys to beef up their lineups, whereas, I mean, if you look at the Tigers, okay, we've got Fukudome from 8 years ago, right? And then we've got Itoi, but they're both aging, and we really haven't tried to bring in any help for our bats.
Any domestic help, at least.
Yeah, domestic help. Yeah, exactly.
And that may be something you're tapping into there is the lineup. It seems that Hanshin is placing a lot of emphasis on their pitching rotation and stacking that with guys like Nishi, and from internal growth, you've got Aoyagi, you've got Akiyama, you've got Mr. Takahashi. The Giants seem to be placing that emphasis on their lineup. So even if one of their big bats starts to sputter, they've got 2 or 3 guys. And the way I look at it is it's star power in a way, in that the Giants can attract, the top free agents and attract the premier players. And if it's a matter of best versus best, their best is still that much better because they can afford to keep top squad talent. I mean, on a position by position basis, could you objectively say that the Giants are outmatched by the Tigers at any one position, especially if everyone has issues staying healthy, like Itohara?
Yeah,
maybe left field on Sands, maybe first base with Bohr, but not domestic players.
Catcher.
The Tigers, catcher, yes,
Yeah.
Umeno, my boy, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't run a team on Umeno and guys who are middle to okay. Like there's the concept of the replacement player in advanced statistics, and the value you provide above or below that. At times, Hanshin looks like a team full of replacement players, and it's going to be, how do we develop the youth to start to exceed that and start to play up to their potential on a consistent basis? Like Chikamoto was clubbing everything last year. This year, he took a while to get back into game shape. Oyama, ridiculously unlucky so far. It's either in the stands or directly in someone's mitt. It's getting that. And then you've got guys like Takayama, who just need to find their footing. Kinami, who seems to be okay to good, but he's not a superstar. Like you look at the Carp, and they've got Seiya Suzuki, who's right up there among the league greats. The Swallows have Tetsuto Yamada and arguably Munetaka Murakami as well.
Yep.
Dragons are also in that boat where they don't quite have that superstar level talent yet. But who knows about Akira Neo or Shuhei Takahashi?
Ishikawa, pardon me. Yeah, Takai Ishikawa.
Yeah, Takai Ishikawa.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a matter of, I think, not just development, to your point, but opening the coffers and actually signing someone domestically, or trading. I know it's almost verboten in NPB, but trading is still a thing that can happen. Trade skill for trade strength on our side for strength for someone else. Like the Carp and Dragons could definitely use an extra arm in their rotation. We've got guys from the farm who are going to get their chance with the big club eventually. Why not look at moving an Iwasada or a Takahashi when they're near the peak of their value, and try and bring in a premier batter who can contribute daily instead of one every 5 days?
can we pick this scab one more time and say, what do you think about trading Fujinami, especially now that he's actually been on the top squad regularly? He's starting to put in some solid games. He's showing signs of dominance, and he's got a win on his record now. I mean, we've talked about this on H10 and off the air as well about, do you trade Fujinami or not? And I think really, like, if they had traded him last year, it would have been a bit of a mistake because he was rock bottom. But now he's starting to come out of that valley, and he's starting to show that he can put together 3-4, innings of dominance. And even he's had a couple of games where he's been quite dominant. He's put up a win. He's starting to show signs of who he was in those first 3 years of his career, and he's still just 26. I almost think that he's got better trade value than an Iwasada, or even like I'd be scared to trade away Haruto Takahashi. I just think he's too good, and I think he's got the potential to be the ace of the future. And as a lefty, I think that he's got too much value.
Valid point.
But maybe not perceived value from other teams. Whereas I think that Fujinami's name brand and his perceived value are such that I think that we could maybe even get like a pretty solid hitter for him if we were to trade with, for example, the Lions. And that would match him back up with Tomoya Mori.
With his Mori, yeah.
Yeah, either that or even the Eagles. I think those are two of the teams. The Eagles, Ishii, their GM, seems to love trades. And so I think that would be
free agents. I called them the Rakuten clown car during the offseason because, like, guys, where are you supposed to put everyone? I mean, trading Wheeler definitely helped with a foreign player mishmash, but you've got, 7 high-quality infielders? Rakuten might actually be a good spot for Fujinami. I mean, the ballpark is a little more spacious, so it's not, a hitter's haven. I think you could probably pry someone, maybe not a Mogi, or a Daiichi Suzuki because that's a free agent pick, but someone else from their batting lineup, maybe even. No, don't take Ginji. Let him retire in Rakuten Maroon. Sorry, I need to rethink this. I think
what about like a Kazuki Tanaka? I don't know if he's still on the rise or not, but I know for a while that he was looking really good.
Maybe a Tatsumi to help out Chikamoto in the outfield.
That would be nice.
That'd be an interesting take. Or Louis Okoye, who's a domestic player, even though he's got a foreign name.
Dual citizenship,
I think he was born in Japan. So
yeah,
Fujinami to me is the definition of the 70 stuff 30 control player. If it's lightning in a bottle, and if you're lucky to get it, I think he needs that extra step of guidance, whether it's a better catcher behind the plate like Mori, or whether it's a pitching coach who can harness that lightning in his arm. I think maybe a change of scenery would do well for him. So if you were to send him to Cebu, who would be on your highlights? Because I mean, the Lions has just gone straight down ever since about a month ago. What's gotten into that team?
Well, it looked like
we should go ask Christian. Yeah,
it looked like they were going to come out of it, but then they took a pounding on the weekend against Oryx of all teams, and so yeah,
changing the manager. Who knew?
Yeah. So I don't know who I would want to grab off of the Lions squad. I mean, they've got probably a lot of guys that are untouchable that, or just like the price would be too high. But I really like guys like Tonosaki. I think he's a really solid player, but I don't think we could get him for Fujinami.
No, Tonosaki's got way too much in terms of potential around, he played just about everywhere except catcher. So that'd be a tough get. I think you might have some luck though, maybe with Sosuke Genda. I mean, he defensive wizard, so you give Kinami a little bit of help, maybe shift Kinami to second where his range may play a little bit better.
Yep.
That resolves some of our infield mismatch.
Or just Itohara would be back anyways, so yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Genda's also got that, the captain C, so maybe he brings that leadership quality to the room.
Uh-huh.
His bat's not the greatest, but that may be why you're able to pry him from Cebu for just a Fujinami and maybe some rando from the farm.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to make a call to Yano and see what he thinks of that. But so
I'm guessing From the tone of this, I'm guessing that we have no interest in dealing with the Oryx Buffaloes because that's traditionally been the Hanshin Tigers' trade partner for just about everybody, right? Back to
You got to look further afield. You can't just keep sending your guys on the Hanshin Nanba line and expect good news. You have to actually send your scouts outside of Kansai.
Yeah. I think also we're kind of just biding our time before Yoshida becomes a free agent, and then we can try and bring him into Hanshin Pinstripes. That would be really nice as well. Well, guys, this has been a really fun talk, and it's given me a lot of food for thought as far as getting this presentation ready for this coming Friday. For anybody out there that's interested in coming to the presentation, either send me an email or hit me up with a comment on this YouTube video, and I will send you a link to the presentation itself, or an invitation to the presentation. You can come and watch that. Guys, it's been fun. Episode 118 is coming out real soon. Probably this is going to come out first, but hopefully we will get to do this again another time. And if people like this, we're going to do this a lot more. We're going to have Zoom sessions and put them up straight up on YouTube. What do you think?
I may have to redecorate my apartment if that's the plan.
Just get one of those virtual backgrounds, man. No problem.
I tried. Do you really want to see what happens if I do a virtual background? It's not pretty.
No, it's all right.
Well, I'm doing it anyway.
There you go.
That happens to me too, yeah.
Yeah, same here. All right, guys. It's been fun. Everybody else, check us out on Patreon or on the H10 website and have a listen to episode 118. It's a good one. Later.
Listen to the episode.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe.